What's going on, guys? I want to do a review on this Sunday, January 2020. I guess everybody's still making their New Year's resolutions and goals, maybe, hopefully, right? I'll admit I've been back in the gym, sore as hell. Just having some coffee here. This is a coffee mug that my brother-in-law handmade, and he is a professional in ceramics, and he's a potter, Native American Wyandotte potter. So if you want to see more stuff like this, check out JamieZaneSmith.com and look at his gallery. He's got some awesome Native American art. Very, very cool stuff. I recommend it. It's good quality stuff. So this is a knife that I want to review today, and this is on loan from my buddy Jared. Thank you, Jared. Once again, I'll just, spoiler alert, I will say that Spyderco has proven me wrong again. As you guys know, you've seen my review probably with the Tenacious and the Resilience. I never picked up a Spyderco because I don't like holes in the blade. I think it lowers the integrity of the knife, of the blade itself, because there's less metal there. And, then you have a smaller distance that's actually holding the blade together, which I think is logical. But I have yet to see any pictures or anything of anybody breaking these knives, as long as they use them for the intended purpose, right? So we're not prying things apart with these or doing anything stupid. So this is the Spyderco Dragonfly. This is a sprint run edition. As you can see, it has a blue-gray handle, which is FRN. And this is part of a 6-knife family. These most likely aren't available right now because they only make a limited edition and then they're gone. And they go on to the next one, okay? So in the family, you would have the Ladybug, the Man-Bug, the Dragonfly, the Delica, the Endura, and the Stretch. 6 knives make up the family. This is the Dragonfly. So as soon as I pick this knife up, I always like to read the writing. You can see here, Seki City, Japan. The previous 2 Spydercos I got were a low investment knife, as you can see here, made in China. All right. And I was actually really, really impressed with them. So this is the Tenacious, and this is a good comparison. I don't know if you want me to line up the handle or the pivot. I can do both. How about that? So huge difference. Funny enough, though, this small knife right here is $68, around $68. Okay. This large knife here is like $45. Pretty interesting. Let's look at another difference. 8CR13 MOV steel. It's okay, right? Not horrible. What kind of steel does this have? Spyderco V-Toku SUS410. What's that slash all about? Is there 2 steels? And then when I pull out the knife, I look at it, and I about asked Jared, what's going on with the blade here? There's a line or an imperfection towards the bottom of the blade. It goes all the way to the tip. Is this on the other side, or is this just from cutting something? Oh no, that line's definitely there, right? It's apparent. Well, as it says on the blade, it's stamped on there, or lasered or whatever, there are 2 different steels used in making this knife. So the core of the blade is the V-Toku2, which is an extremely strong blade that you can get a razor edge, but it's a high carbon steel. So it's a tough carbon steel. It has vanadium, chromium, tungsten, has awesome edge retention. So that sounds like the knife you would want. But the problem is it has a likelihood to corrode. So what they did was they took this knife and they had the V-Toku, and then they took a piece of SUS410 stainless and a piece of SUS410 stainless, and they sandwiched the V-Toku, which in my opinion would also be considered sanmai. Sanmai is when you sandwich different steels together, either for aesthetics or for corrosion resistance and edge retention at the same time. So I'm sure there was a lot of effort put into this tiny little knife, hence the $68. You have steel that you don't normally see in knives, and I think that makes the big difference. Okay, so overall, this knife is 5.62 inches long. The blade is 2.29, and as far as the edge, the cutting edge, is 1.91. So it's under 3 inches for whoever's worried about that in the US. The thickness on the blade is very, very thin. Okay, it's 0.098 inches. Extremely thin. Extremely. You know, it has the Spyderco flat grind, which really makes cutting easy. So let's compare it to some other ones. Here you have a left-handed PM2 that I just picked up at GP Knives. If you haven't been there, check them out. Good dudes. Here is the Sprint Run Mannix 2. So you can tell this is a very small knife, and some people prefer small knives. Some people use them as backups, which is cool, and some people just carry them in the office setting or something like that, and it's a lot more acceptable than breaking out the resilience, right, and scaring everybody in the office. So it does have a reversible pocket clip. So if I were to carry this in my pocket, I would reverse this clip around. Okay. The handles are FRN, which I'm usually not a fan of, but we have to put things into perspective as far as, well, I guess, as far as the use, right? So G10, you know, micarta, those things would be more durable, but do we really need that in this type of knife? Probably not. So again, I think most of the price is coming from these two blade steels being sandwiched together in unison here and just looking really great with a satin finish. You can tell this knife is not a safe queen. So Jared uses this knife. Good for you, Jared. It actually feels pretty darn good. I love the thumb ramp. The jimping is fairly aggressive on such a small knife, and I love it. I'm not afraid of jimping like some people are. So I think it looks pretty darn good, to be honest. As far as bushings, from what I understand, there are no bushings on this knife. So this is an FRN, fiberglass reinforced nylon, and then the blade runs on the nylon. So somebody was joking around on a forum and said, technically it has nylon bushings, but I think it is bushingless and just runs on the nylon handle. Okay. I will say, I don't know exactly what's going on, but there are some small, it looks like scratches and stuff on close to the end of the tang here. And I guess that's from the handle. It's not a huge deal or anything. It doesn't affect anything, but it looks like there's some scratches on the very end. Notice, on this very tiny knife, there is a forward choil with jimping. Beautiful thing. So you can hold it like this or scoot it down. And check that out. So if I move it forward on the choil, my pinky has its whole pad on the end of that handle. Huge fan of that, right? I love that. I don't like when I can't fit my pinky on a knife. So this, like I said, this would make a great backup knife or an office knife or something like that to cut boxes. So when he gave this to me, I could tell it was fairly sharp. So I just broke out the Spyderco Sharp Maker, which is what I use the majority of the time to touch up my knives. I put it on a 30-degree inclusive, or 15 degrees each side. I hit it with the fine stone about, I would say 40 times, and then I put an extra fine on there and also hit that about 40 times. And this little knife, which may seem inconspicuous, I would say is one of the sharpest knives I've held after touching it up with the Spyderco Sharp Maker. If you guys don't have a Spyderco sharp maker, then I would get one. It's the best sharpening system for the money at like $65. You can't beat it. So if you want a quality budget knife sharpener, then just get the Spyderco sharp maker and you'll be good. You can buy extra stones. I bought the extra fine and the diamond. So I have 4 different grits on a sharpening system for probably around $100 for everything. You know, a Wicked Edge is 10 times more expensive and complicated, but it depends on what you want. Depends on what you're looking for. Okay. So this is another important spec here. The weight on this knife is 1.2 ounces. So when someone says you put a knife in your pocket and it just blends in and disappears in your pocket, this is a good example. So 1.2 ounces, you don't even feel it, right? It doesn't pull on your pocket or anything like that. Another thing is this pocket clip here, it looks chintzy, just a wire pocket clip, but this thing really holds onto your clothes. Now, like I said, the grip here is pretty aggressive. It's bidirectional FRN, which I like a lot. But they put this nice little smooth piece right in the middle, and that's so when you pull it out of your pocket, it doesn't chew your pocket up like, you know, like a chainsaw. So that's pretty cool. I mean, there's a lot of thought put into that. Obviously, it's a lock back. It's not a liner or anything like that. There's a positive click, and it feels pretty darn good for a tiny little knife. It really does. And you can tell I've been shaving with this thing. It is very, very sharp, as you can see. Right? So I would highly recommend this knife if you can find it. Again, this is the Sprint Run. It's not extremely common, but this is the Spyderco Dragonfly with the V-Toku2, the blue-gray handle, the SUS410 stainless on the outside, which they consider a laminate. And this is from Seki City, Japan, and part of this Sanmai family. Hope you guys enjoyed this. Please subscribe if you're not already. If you want to see more reviews, I have a ton more reviews. I have some examples here. I just picked up a left-handed PM2 yesterday at GP Knives. I also picked up the ProTech TR3L left-handed. So these are knives I'm going to be reviewing shortly, but I still have other knives to review, like this one on loan, which is the Manix 2. It's the Sprint Run Blurple edition, and I'll look more into that before I do the review. But it's a cool knife, for sure. So stay tuned, guys. I have some really cool videos coming, and I hope you enjoyed this one. Have a good rest of your day. Thanks for watching.